Well, I needed something different to play with. Carrying around 3 or 4 old prime manual focus lenses, well, that was getting old. I went online and I bought myself another lens on eBay. My Nikon stuff goes back 58 years and still works great, of course. But I wanted to carry around just one all-purpose lens, one that, as the need arises, will zoom from a wide angle to a modest telephoto. No, I am not buying into the current stampede to the latest and greatest mirrorless cameras. No need for that. I noticed the discontinued Nikon 18 to 200 millimeter 3.5 to 5.6 lens got very good reviews. But it's a DX version. Well, I found one I liked, a reasonably cheap old out of production Nikon 18 to 200 millimeter, and I bought it. It came in the mail yesterday. So now is the time to be testing the new equipment. I still have my old Nikon D200 gathering dust in the closet, and so I figured, well, I'll just start using that again with this new lens. The DX question just didn't bother me much, and actually you can use a DX lens on my newer D810, which is an FX camera, but it automatically will detect the DX lenses. The difference between DX and FX is seriously great, but not a great concern as far as I'm concerned. So I shot a bunch of pictures with this combination. The brand new lens, which is very cool. It zooms out. Let me just watch this. Pops out. 18 to 200 millimeter. Shot a bunch of pictures, which I'm going to show you. Judge for yourself the results of this new this old combination of DX lenses on an old DX camera. The DX, it's not full frame like the FX cameras. The Nikon FXs are full frame. While DX lenses can be used on FX cameras, they will not cover the full FX imagery. The camera will typically crop the image using only the central portion of the center. So, for example, when using a DX lens at 200 millimeters, the resulting image is close to actually being around 300 millimeters. Got that? With DX versus FX cameras, I was a bit confused with the designated focal length that you get with DX. I want that 18 millimeter wide angle shot to be a true 18 millimeter. With all that chirping about 27 millimeter and 300 millimeter results, do I get a true 18 millimeter wide angle image with my 18 to 200 millimeter DX zoom lens? Well, I had to confirm that, and here is the results. Okay, now would be a good time for me to tell you the rest of the story. I really wanted to shoot pictures of a protest rally that's going to be held in town over the weekend, and I wanted to be able to do it without carrying a lot of equipment. In my opinion, the rally was for a very worthy cause, and I thought it would be quite a challenge to figure out how to shoot it. Saturday's weather reports were dire, bad news, rain and snow forecast, but I was going anyway. It was cold and rainy out there, but there was no shortage of excitement and enthusiasm. I got my shots, but in my enthusiasm I did make a few mistakes. The camera is very weatherproof, but I didn't think to bring along a lens tissue, and raindrops on the lens killed a few pictures. Next, I forgot to reset the program to aperture priority f8 and to turn off the auto ISO, so exposures were mostly wide open and therefore not the sharpest. Then I held the camera up over my head to get a better sweep of the crowd, but didn't realize that the 8mm had migrated to 200mm. The weirdest thing, however, was I also managed to somehow reprogram the plus minus exposure compensation button to a minus 4.5 stops. How did I do that? I don't know. Well, anyway, in post-processing, I salvaged what I could.
Peace off. Peace off. Peace off.